So we're at the world premiere of the brand new Hyundai Aura. It's the replacement for the Hyundai Xcent. It's the new sub 4-meter compact sedan from Hyundai. I'm gonna take you quickly around the car. Of course, you'll notice it's blacked out because the interiors aren't showcased just yet. But we can take you around the car. We can tell you about the interiors a little bit in more detail. But we'll talk about the exteriors first. And since the car's coming around, let's talk about the rear because, of course, it's a compact sedan and that's what it's all about. Now, the rear, as you notice, the C pillars have been blacked out, so it sort of masks the bulk a little bit. But overall, the boot has been nicely designed. It has a little bit of a sort of curve in the boot lid here, so it's got like almost like an inbuilt spoiler effect going on. A big Hyundai and a big Aura badge at the back. Big LED tail lamps. Now that's the lighting sort of element. It's like a boomerang. It's got a nice sporty bumper too. So this, of course, is the top of the line turbo petrol version. We'll talk about the engines a little bit more in detail a little later. But as you can see, the car is quite neat looking, especially in profile. It's almost got like a coupe-like profile there. Now 15-inch alloy wheels, as Hyundai calls them, the diamond cut. And as the car swings around the front, it of course looks quite like the Hyundai Grand i10 Neos. So you've got the projector headlamps, similar headlamp to the Grand i10 Neos. Projector fog lamps as well, LED daytime running lights, and of course this blacked out grille, which is quite a cool little touch, especially again when compared to this red paint job that the car has. Now, talking about the engines that we spoke about earlier, 3 engine options. You've got a 1-liter turbo, which is what this is, got 100 horsepower, and that comes only with a manual gearbox option. Now you've got also, of course, a 1.2 and 1.2 petrol and a 1.2 diesel. And that 1.2 petrol makes 83 horsepower for petrol, and the CNG version of that makes 72 horsepower. And the 1.2 diesel, makes 75 horsepower, and all of these engines are BS6 compliant. Now, the 1.2s get a 5-speed manual or AMT option, whereas the turbo, which is what this is, gets only a 5-speed manual option. So no automatic in this one just yet. But again, as I mentioned, all of them are BS6 compliant. So they're all clean little engines. Now, as I mentioned earlier, a slightly longer wheelbase, 25mm longer, and it's slightly wider, so 20mm wider. So it will, of course, give you a little more space in the back. Now, in consequence of that, the boot has become slightly smaller, but it's just a few liters, so it isn't really making much of a difference there. Apart from that, 8-inch touchscreen infotainment system up front. It's got a semi-digital sort of instrument cluster too, and it's got something called a rear view monitor, which means that the rear view camera can actually stay on even when the driver is driving the car. Now that may be useful if there are a lot of people in the back and you can't see out of the back, but I really don't know how much of a use in general that is actually going to be. And of course, we'll have a lot more detail on this car on our website and on the YouTube channel soon.